off the page at us, and his presence seemed to be everywhere we looked. Then we got sacked, and something got broken. A sudden job loss revealed our lack of faith. A divorce mangled our self-worth and made us wonder if we could ever trust again. An unresisted temptation began an addiction to internet pornography. An unkind comment resurrected our suppressed bitterness toward a parent. Or a long-term struggle we thought would simply vanish when we embraced Christ suddenly reared its ugly head. Whatever single event or ongoing condition shook us out of our comfort zone, we began walking with a spiritual limp. Like a good Christian, we immediately ran a self-diagnosis, searched our Bible for a prescriptive quick-fix verse, and prayed hard that we'd never break in the same place again. But then we did. Again. And again. And again. Maybe we even had people lay hands on us, intercede for us, or act as our accountability partners. And yet, after the 500th time of giving in, it felt like we had no strength left to fight. We were ineffective in duking it out with the foaming anger that ran rampant. We felt weak in battling our lust. We succumbed to overeating. A negative self-image kept us trapped in the maze of fear, insecurity, and despair. And eventually, we felt like a hopeless cause, an inept, ineffective Christian. Naturally, it's in this stage that the nagging questions begin. Questions that seem so unspiritual and disloyal to our newfound God and His Word. But questions that nonetheless are there and begin to eat away at our confidence and well-being. What happened? Why can't we seem to be what God's Word says we are? Why do some strongholds remain, much less our petty daily sins? Why is it so difficult to be truly free? Why are we perpetually broken? And why does it seem there are so many of us, whom God refers to as more than conquerors, struggling just to get by? Why didn't the lustful thoughts go away? Why didn't the desire for narcotics leave? Why should we even need a bumper sticker that says Christians aren't perfect, just forgiven? Aren't we supposed to be the ones who walk in victory over sin? Didn't Christ, through His sacrifice, already take care of our weaknesses? Matthew chapter 8, verse 17 says He did. He Himself took our weaknesses and carried our diseases. Holman Christian Standard Bible, from Isaiah chapter 53, verse 4. I remember the frustration I felt while sitting across from a sobbing, frighteningly thin young girl caught in the awful web of anorexia. I just couldn't harmonize my theology with her experience. She was a Christian. She didn't want to die. She truly wanted to be free of her problem. At least a deep part of her did. But she couldn't overcome it. Then there are the many believers I've known or spoken with who've yielded to sexual temptation and paid dear prices. I recall one spiritual leader who fell prey to homosexual behavior and lost everything: his marriage, his career, and eventually his life to AIDS. His mindset wasn't the typical rationalizing, justifying, God made me this way attitude. He wept bitter tears, claiming he wanted to be free. But the stronghold prevailed. I knew him. I cried with him. No one will ever convince me he wasn't sincere in his desire for freedom. You've known some. Maybe you stare at one every day in the mirror. The issues have different names, but the question is the same. Why can't we as Christians overcome certain sins and weaknesses? This is what becoming who you are is all about. Finding a full, lasting solution. I realize the title is somewhat unusual.